Today we are headed back to the track after about a year of rebuilding the UglyTruck, and today we might break something. Either we'll break a part in the drivetrain, or we will break a record, reset our personal best, and possibly get into the 9-second zone in the quarter mile with our turbo big block sleeper Silverado. Now, running a 9-second pass is no easy task, and I gotta tell you, it's been a lot of work to get to this point. Alrighty guys, we made it up to Bandamere. We're sitting here, we're teched in, we're in the staging lanes. Lots of cool cars out here today. The plan, pretty simple. We're gonna leave it on low boost to start out with. I think I said the other day 15 pounds was as low as it goes. It's like 13 or so, somewhere in there. Just see how we, hook up and get traction and all that good stuff. So if we have no problems, we'll just keep turning it up. Like I said, the goal for the day is 999. Doubt it's gonna happen. I'd love it to happen, but if you make it through the day without breaking anything, that's kind of like a good day. So off we go.
Truck that's going to be open on the east side. Say things, girlfriend.
Holy cow. Since we've done that.
At least the sticky ETDOTs. Sticky tires, slicks, we are encouraging you to move to the left lane. Move slicks to the left lane. Tires to the right lane. Streets, right lane. Sticky tires and slicks, we are encouraging you to move to the left lane to try to give you that optimal racetrack to run up. Fuel store is open until about 2 o'clock. If you need juice for the race car, or maybe yourself, I don't know. They got Adams polishes, all kinds of great stuff.
All right, run number 1 in the books. Obviously, we didn't try to reset a record on the very first pass. We're on low boost and fairly low timing, so there should be a lot more left on it, or in it rather. But we still did pretty dang good. Remember, our best run was a 1092. We actually did an 11.5, so pretty sort of close for that, especially considering we're not set to kill yet. 7.5 or 7.4 in the 8th at 95. Definitely felt a little bit funny through first gear. I logged the run, of course. I don't know if it was slipping the transmission. My shift points weren't set 100% spot on because I hadn't adjusted the tune for my smaller drag tires. The street tires have a much bigger diameter, and therefore the tune is off a little bit because I had tuned it for the big tire. So I switched that. The tune should be correct. I added more timing, and I'm gonna go crank that little knob on the boost controller to turn the boost up a little bit. So hopefully we get a little bit quicker. All right, we ran a little bit faster in terms of mile per hour that time, but we had a slow reteak because the truck spun pretty dang bad. So real quick, adjusted the tire pressure, adjusted the shocks just a little bit, leaving the tune-up alone because this time was like 17 PSI on the gauge. So before we continue to add power, I want to say we make it stick because I think the 60 foot we can really bring down. So go right back out and try it again. All right, 3 runs in the book. The third one we got a little, like barely, tiny bit quicker than the first one. 11.54 at 123 miles an hour. Definitely didn't feel like it put down the power quite as hard. It didn't spin like in run number 2, the 1180, but still isn't hooking up properly. So lowered the tire pressure, adjusted the shocks a little bit more. I'm just kind of, at this point, I'm not a chassis guy, I'll admit that. I'm just kind of changing stuff and seeing what's actually going to stick, what's going to help. And this time I haven't been doing good about paying attention to the boost gauge and like where I'm launching. I've been just looking at the tree, trying to cut a perfect tree, which that doesn't really matter. What matters right now is trying to see where I'm leaving. So anyway, try paying a little bit more attention. I would actually, as far as the day's going right now, I would just love to reset my personal best of a 1090. So if I could do that again or slightly better, I'd be happy. 9s definitely seem like a bit of a stretch, but hey, I'm here, I'm having fun, nothing's broke, so it's a good day. So this is the part of the episode where I start making excuses. It's been a rough go of it. The big contributing factor maybe is altitude. I don't know, we're like 6,000 feet. I don't know what the DA is today. I'll maybe look it up and put it at the bottom of the screen here. My best run did happen in Vegas, which was a much lower elevation and a cooler day. So there's that. But anyway, I just made an adjustment on the CalTrack bar angle to see if we could hit the tire a little harder. Again, I'm no chassis tuning expert by any means. This is kind of all trial and error and experimentation. But according to the Google machine, if you raise the bar, it'll hit the tire harder. From what I've read, CalTracks are supposed to cause the rear end to separate, and when looking at the launch footage in kind of slow-mo, it doesn't look like it's separating. So that could be contributing to my traction. Not a huge problem, but it's definitely still spinning as the truck goes to accelerate. So yeah, at this point, if I could just at least match my best run, 1090 something, I'd be happy. So we'll keep messing with it. We got like 2 more hours in the day, so I should be able to get a handful of more runs at least. All right, I gotta admit I'm pretty frustrated right now, like really frustrated, because I am not able to put the power down. I can't blame it all on that. I feel like I'm having a similar problem as I was having last year. I talked about it's a cyclone, or cyclone wannabe maybe. Anyway, I talked at the end of last year how the truck felt like it was hitting a wall at the last 300 feet of the track or so, and that's kind of what we're doing right now. So we're having traction problems off the start, and we're also having problems not going fast
Drive
enough.
faster.
I'm trying.
Faster.
I got my foot down and it's not going. So I don't know. It's yeah, last run you probably saw 11.7 at 118. So I was down a mile an hour. Bad 60 foot because it spawned and I should have let up, but I just stuck my foot in it. So yeah, I'm hitting my head against a wall. That's what I feel like. But the good news is the truck's running good, but it's not fast. I had kind of planned on making a few more runs of the track, but it was getting a little bit late at the day, and I was just getting to the point where it seemed like all the changes that I was making didn't really seem to have an impact on how the truck was performing. Now, this was extremely, and still is, frustrating for me. And if it was just any other day at the track, like beginning of the year or whatever, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but it was so very frustrating to me because I had just spent all summer making a bunch of changes and expending a bunch of effort and time and money trying to improve the truck and hoping for a much better result, where in reality, it seemed like I made it worse. Now, my best run of the day, like an 11.3 or whatever, if you use a DA calculator, technically that at sea level would have been like a 10.8 at 129. But I don't care what the calculator says. I want to see that time up on the scoreboard. And right off the bat, today was a failure. Now, in the sense that the truck is still in one piece, it drove on the trailer and it still runs great, that's, I guess, a success. But I still feel like I have a fundamental mismatch in parts combination. The build overall, one of the things that I really get excited about is working with oddball and less than desirable engines. That's what the 8.1 is. It's a platform that no one uses. And after days like today, or it was actually yesterday, it kind of makes me wonder, maybe there's a reason people don't use the 8.1. Now, I'm not giving up on it yet, and I am still convinced we can run a 9, but there's a few things I noticed that need to be addressed. And now that I've actually thought about it for the day, I've reviewed the footage, I've edited most of it, so it's given me some time to kind of, sit down and think. Here's what I've come up with. Number one, the shift points in the transmission, they're all out of whack. The 1-2 shift seems okay, but the 2-3 shift happens extremely early, so we need to get that corrected. Maybe let second gear pull a little bit longer before it makes the gear change. The engine, second thing I noticed, the engine doesn't seem to love higher RPM all that much either, which possibly contradicts the first thing I just said about shift points. But one of the things I tried to change by improving the camshaft, the valve springs, and the rocker arms is to let the engine breathe, and porting the intake, is to let the engine breathe better at higher RPMs. But fundamentally, we still have a big truck engine that's designed to make low-speed torque, and we're pushing it outside those parameters. So the mild-ish cam that I installed certainly didn't help matters at all. It definitely has the ability to leave the line a lot harder than it has ever before, because with those Hydro Boost brakes, I can get it up to, at the track, you probably saw 5-6 pounds on the boost gauge. I tested it, I saw 7 or 8 in the parking lot, but I just can't make it stick. So we need to do some chassis changes. It does have Caltrax, it does have leaf springs, but I haven't dialed in the shock settings perfectly yet. And the front suspension is completely stock, and I think I need to make some changes there too. Maybe a lighter spring rate, maybe an adjustable shock, some tubular control arms to let the front end rise up a little bit easier. So we get some changes to make there. I'm also thinking kind of along the whole RPM thought process or logic. I want to re-gear the thing. It's got 342s in it now. I'm thinking like a 308 or a 320 something ratio. Maybe I'll put in a spool. Maybe I'll put in some bigger axle shafts just to make it stronger. But I think to get my 9-second pass, I really need to change this thing up to the point where we're utilizing that low speed torque because the engine just naturally doesn't want to spin. So I've got some planning to do. We will be back, and I do really, really want to get that UglyTruck into the 9s with the stock-ish 8.1. I think maybe with some chassis and gearing and tire size changes, maybe we can make that happen. On a whole nother note altogether, we're about to kick off another project, which is going to be like a polar opposite 180 of the UglyTruck. Instead of a big heavy vehicle with a big dump truck motor, it's going to be smaller, it's going to be lighter weight, and it's going to, like I said, be the opposite. It's going to spin more RPM. Can't see all of it, but that's the new project we're about to kick off. And the other project, which you guys have been asking about a whole lot, I'm actually sitting on right now. This is the 4-wheel drive drag truck chassis. Originally, the plan was to stick this underneath the UglyTruck, convert it to 4-wheel drive, and install that bad boy right there. That's a 535 cubic inch solid roller big block. It's going to have aluminum heads on it, and that thing is going to be able to turn much more RPM than the stock 8.1. Now, like I said, originally, this was intended to go in the UglyTruck, but I kind of switched gears a little bit halfway through because the more and more parts I bought for this, the more I realized, well, shoot, I've got 2 complete trucks here. So rather than taking UglyTruck apart to make it 4-wheel drive and then having a bunch of extra parts laying around in the home, I just decided I'm going to buy another truck to put on top of this. This will be kind of more of a full-blown race, quote-unquote, type vehicle. The UglyTruck will remain sort of streetable, which again, kind of contradicts some of the stuff I'm talking about chasing that 9-second pass, but I'm bound and determined to make it happen. So anyway, that's just kind of a few thoughts that are rolling around in my head right now. I actually might end up, since we're on the topic of this truck, I might end up stealing these Calvert split monoleaves and Funkhauser sliders and putting them on or underneath the UglyTruck and then converting this one to 4-link. So I'm not sure just yet, but the wheels are turning, and like I said, I'm determined to make that 9-second pass happen. Hopefully. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I honestly, right now, I kind of feel like a failure because I had made all these changes in my mind. It would have improved the truck, but I feel like I made it worse. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. It was a fun day of racing nonetheless. We didn't break. The truck is still put together, still runs, so sort of a success. Anyway, thank you. Come back soon.